Hey folks, how you doing there? Well, today's gonna be, of all things, it's going to be Wednesday, April 13th. Now, today's thing I'm looking at is, of course, we have the obvious upgrades for phone technology, and well, Mrs. Dude and myself, we've been running the Samsung S3 Galaxy for quite an extended period. I do actually have a cracked screen, so that's kind of one of those issues, and that's not the fun part about when you're operating these things. Is when they crash burn, you basically then gotta fix them. Not exactly the cheapest thing. I mean, the glass alone's $80. These things are now a used phone, run around about buck 30ish, buck 40ish or so in a good shape, and it's really not justified to replace the phone's face. You know, basically change out the digitizer and of course the obvious interaction between the screen, the touch, and all the rest of the good stuff like that there. And it just doesn't hold merit to fix the thing up like that. Usually, in most cases, people then take this sucker and sell it on eBay and say sayonara. I'm not going to do that, okay? What I'm going to simply do is I'm going to simply go, all right, if I'm going to do this and I want to get a bigger, better, badder ass phone, I want to get a bigger, badder ass phone. So what did I simply do? Well, I went on eBay. And obviously, you go on eBay, and it turns into a shopping trip where you try to line up something for not a ridiculous price. You try to get something decent that's not going to basically jack you up and down and gives you a good deal for what you might obtain. So, pretty much what I was looking at was I was looking at one of these. And this one, of course, being Mrs. Dude's. This is Mrs. Dude's new phone. Now, I said, you know what? If I'm going to go that route, I may as well just get myself two of them. So, this is my new phone. So, what did I get? I got myself two S5s. So basically, what they are is they're the Galaxy Samsung S5, which is pretty much a bigger critter. I mean, in terms of the actual size of the thing, if I overlay this with that, actually, let's do this one simply stupid and crazy and, very simple, stupid, easy. Let's extract this from the case so you guys can see size for size. Okay, now actually, this actually does really truly need to have a case. It is a very slim, compact little booger. Now, this one is actually the OtterBox. This is the Defender. So this one's actually, I'll get into this one in a second, but this one's hell for stout. So let me extract this thing from the case. You guys can see what I'm talking about. I believe this case is actually the commuter. So this is actually a case that's intended towards Mrs. Dude. Obviously the foofy color they're in, and it is pretty much a fairly ruggedized piece of equipment. One piece has a hard outer skin, a softer inner skin, and basically the two of them are molded together, locked in place. They're not going to do anything stupid because they're pretty much a one-piece critter. So coming over here to where I'm seeing things, hang on one second here. I'm having a issue with phone technology. No, camera technology. Okay, so essentially this guy is a one-piece unit, all the rest of the good stuff like that there, and it is pretty much ruggedized. Now, in terms of the actual dimensions on this thing, this phone versus this phone is roughly about as thick. The major difference is the sheer size of these guys. So I overlay one over the other, and you can see it's about a quarter-inch longer, roughly, an overall length. Now the sheer screen size of it, I mean the screen on this one, I'm gonna put them edge to edge. So basically this one ends there. This one actually ends up here. So I picked up about about a quarter-inch or so of screen length. But the biggest difference is this one has so much better technology on board. And also the other things too is the camera is better. It has a heartbeat monitor. You literally put your finger on top of here and it measures your heart rate. The kicker is on this back cover, you pop that off, and that little gray guy is actually not just a fence, but it is a gasket. So when this thing is described as quote unquote properly sealed, this phone can actually be dropped in 3 or 4 feet of water, and it can be left there for a maximum of 5 minutes without any problems. As long as this cover is snapped in place, and as long as the back is snapped on correctly, this phone is essentially mildly waterproof. You actually can pour water down the front. You can actually dunk it in water, pick it back up, shake it off, continue a phone call. Say you're like walking through the mall or something, you trip, oops, splash. Oh no! Reach in, pick it back out. It's got no issues. If you even think of trying to do that with an S3 with anything but a waterproof case, you are a dead duck. Now, in terms of the actual technology on board, the processor on this one is decent. I mean, it barely lags. It's a very decent piece. It's a little slow sometimes. They have multiple things running all at once. This one is a rocket ship. By and large, the 6 was not that much better than this phone, but they described the 6 as having pretty much what's described on like the Apple phones, a glass front and a glass back. Literally, it looks very much like an iPhone. And that's one of those things that people were really not happy about. The 7 has gone kind of pretty much full school, old school, full circle, simply because it has the similar aspect to that this has. And Mrs. Dude and I were looking for something else along the lines of this thing that was very, very specific. With this phone, you pop the back off, and you literally can do something as simple as this. You have access to a removable battery, and you have access to a removable SD micro card, mini card. You actually can switch out the memory on these things. You can switch out the batteries on these things on the flippin' fly. The S6 is a sealed unit. It is what it is. And the thing is, these phones are only 16 gig. Well, this phone is only 16 gig. I had yet to fill it up. I had yet to fill up the 32 gig card that I put into it. And in mine, I put a 64 gig card. So that thing is hell for stout. The card that I have previously in this phone is still in place. And by and large, it has been nothing but an awesome piece of kit. I have had nothing but excellent service out of this phone, with the exception of dropping it and cracking the screen. You got to go back to sleep. I've had no issues with this phone, other than a mild once or twice. It kind of sketched out a little bit. Pull out the battery, hard reboot, no problems at all. I don't even have to do the standard thing about reboot the thing every couple days, make sure it's still working right. It just goes and goes. Samsung products, I am an absolute fan of, because by and large, their phones are just completely kick-ass. Now, in terms of what we're doing here is, I accidentally turned it on. Now, in terms of what we're actually doing here is we are now getting ready to switch from our previous S3s to now our current S5s. And I don't know if it's going to be something as simple as popping out the chip on this guy and popping the chip in this guy, the SIM card. And of course, this guy's going, oh, no SIM found. I don't find a SIM. Well, obviously, because there's no SIM in there. And it's time for you to go to Betty Bye. Say night night. Yeah, well, no, it's not airplane mode. I want you to turn off. No, stop. Go to sleep. Device will power off. Yes, night night. Say night night, Mr. Samsung. So anyway, the case in point is trying to find something that does not bankrupt you, but still carries on and does everything better than the previous. Sometimes you have to be a good customer. Now, the thing is, if I went to Verizon and I bought this phone, they'd be saying, oh, sure, no problem. $24 a month for 24 months. Let's do the math. 24 times 24, $600 plus. No, not doing that, okay? Not doing that at all. If I did do that, I would be a dumbass. Do the math, okay? They're making out like a bandit for basically a phone that is not a $600 phone, but they're getting you to pay them an additional $24 a month. Not going to do it, okay? Not going to do it. All right, let me get out of this one and jump over here real quick to this one. Now, this one being the Defender case is a badass, okay? There is a rubber shell that snaps over the whole thing. You have a bunch of little clips you have to undo to basically snaps apart. And there is a plastic cover ruggedizing your screen. There is very stiff construction, but the buttons are not hard to access. The kicker is the phone has got the camera recessed on there. No problems there. Everything's easily accessible. Have a speaker port, and it is going to be really, really good to go. Now, the cool part is the holster. You can carry this phone face in. No problem. You can carry this phone also, alternatively, face out. You then go, okay, well, it's got this belt clip and all. Where's the kickstand? The kickstand is the belt clip. You go and go and go and go, and that's your kickstand. How cool is that? Then when you're done with that, you have a little release here. You're now back to using it again as a belt clip. I cannot tell you how cool this thing is, other than with this case on board, it's a little bit of a chunky booger. But by and large, I'm tempted to think, since I had such awesome service with the S3, the S5 is going to be nothing but a continuation of excellent service with more facilities and cool stuff on board. I commend it to you, folks. The Samsung products, by and large, are some of the best Android products you can ever put your everything on and utilize to its best effort. I'm going to break up on this one, folks. Eat good, keep centering. As always, you know you love it. Old to new. How cool is that? Well, the both Samsung is very cool. See you guys.